gentlemen, welcome to Wandavision Episode 5 review. And you know what that means. We're about to break down this glorious show. My nickname nickname would be a spoiler, Travis Snell.
I am the Cowabunga, Kirkland Patzer.
Nice. Yeah, I think next week we're going to have some interesting nicknames. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is, like I said, we're reviewing every episode of WandaVision. Find out what we do down below. You can find our audio, video feeds. You can go to the website that has all our information. Taylor, where can they find us? All I'll say all I'll say is tune in February 27th to our next After 9 episode. There was a massive controversy with the polls, and we're going to figure it out. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we do, go check out our Patreon. This weekend, we'll be dropping our Patreon monthly exclusive episode. We just did a BVS commentary track, the Ultimate Edition. We just sat down for 3 hours before this. Tons of fun. Please rate us a review on iTunes and or I guess just Apple Podcasts. Just go down below, and that's where we are. Leave us a nice 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and everything in between. So, gentlemen, we always do this, right? We do the non-spoilers, but I just feel like I cannot personally say anything non-spoilers other than this was clearly my favorite episode, and every week they surprise me because we talked about last week. I'm not even going to hint about what we talked about because that would spoil some stuff, but I just thought I'd go a certain direction, and it just went a whole different direction. I feel like this show is more moving at warp speed in a good light. This had lots of good reveals, had more questions posed, and some big reveals as well. And I just think this was a home run of an episode. And I cannot we got 4 more episodes of this stuff. Crazy.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, like, once the show's all done, and then I'll rewatch it again, and then I feel like I'll really be able to pinpoint which is my favorite episode, because I feel like this was the best episode so far, just with the amount of information that we got, the amount of stuff that went on. It was just so surprising. Like Travis said, it feels like we're going at warp speed now. But I feel like in hindsight, it might not be my favorite, just because I really liked when we were still just, again, without going into spoilers, like in the first episode, it was just all of that very over the top, comical, lighthearted show. And I feel like I just really, really liked that because it was just so refreshing. Whereas I feel like now we're starting to remember, we're still in the MCU, we're still in the Marvel universe. It's not just a
shit's
completely
going down.
Yeah, exactly. So I am excited to rewatch the show, and then I'll really be able to think about which is my favorite episode. But so far, definitely this was the best episode, and there's so much that happened, and so excited to talk about spoilers.
Taylor, you get the final word, and then we're going to do a deep dive. I see everyone in the YouTube chat there. Throw in your questions. We have it up and everything like that, so throw in your questions, your theories. It's full spoilers, so if you're for some reason just watching the opening, don't look at the chat yet, but throw any spoilers you want in there. We're going to talk about those in 2 minutes. So, Taylor, what did you think of this episode before we do our big deep dive? Oh, yeah. Just a few questions. So, yeah. Our first ad break.
Oh, we paused.
Am I back here? What happened?
You're back.
I'm back. Did I go away for a second? It's struggling. I don't know why I'm struggling. Of course, struggling. We're going to take our first ad break for the podcast listeners, and then we're going to do a deep dive and get right into this. So we will be Right back. We're back. Let me switch this for a little bit, and then I'll fix it after while you guys are talking. So, okay, I don't know where else to start, but I just feel like, so this is spoilers. That's tell episode. We've thrown the ad break, everything like that. I feel like we got to start with the big fish. We got to start with we're gonna start at the beginning, or we're gonna start at the end and work our way back. We had heard rumors. We had talked about 4 weeks, and we said, "What is happening? Where could little old Evan Peters pop up?" And we get a knock at the door at the end of this episode. And even then, I can't wait to talk about the end because Wanda and Vision are in full on like fight mode, arguing. Everything's going to crap, everything like that. It's not going well. All the kind of film around the world is falling apart. There's a knock, and just that like look on her face, and he's just like, "Oh, aren't you gonna hug your long lost brother or whatever?" And then she's like, "Petro," and she gives him the hug. And I love the shot from behind too. It's just his hair, and it's Evan Peters playing Quicksilver. Taylor Field, I'm going to start with you. What did you think about this?
A
A
chode herring?
chode herring? Red herring. A chode herring. Chode herring while you raw dog it.
Oh, there's Fanboy Clay in the chat, popping off.
Taylor says we can't hear you. Let's see.
Oof.
Great. We're having a great night. Let me see here. Yeah, I can't hear you, Taylor.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I heard you. On
Weird.
YouTube.
I think my
Okay.
weird. I think the codec for some reason differed to different output. Anyways, yeah.
Thank you, Clay.
So
Okay.
red herring.
Anyways, talk about your chode fish or whatever.
Yeah,
Thank you
my
very much,
chode
Clay.
fish.
Okay, we're back there.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
in-
Of course, this is classic GeekVerse. My video's shut down. Your audio's going off. The biggest episode of WandaVision.
It's 1
Fuck you,
a.m.
podcast calls. That's why, legitimately, yeah, it's 1 a.m. Go support us on Patreon because our next goal is to get a streaming laptop, so none of the shit is going to happen again. But go ahead. So back to your chode herring.
Yeah, my chode herring. So in no way do I think that's really Quicksilver. I think 110% that I do believe it's Mephisto. I think he's totally just tweaking his way along into here. I was pleasantly surprised though. I did suspect we're gonna see him soon because we are past the halfway point. So things had to have picked up here at some point, especially after last week's episode when we got the whole different perspective, and this week's episode we got a lot of combined like the era 80s and then what's going on outside with a whole lot of other progression of just showing Wanda's true character in this. It leading to Pietro returning is just like flabbergasting, like just nuts. And again, I wasn't sure if they're going to show the face, but we got like the like, whoa, what's going on? Then we got the back of the shot with the hair and the head, and it was like, oh my god, are they really going to do it? And then that recast that Darcy said, I don't buy it. Again, I could be wrong, and that could be just me being doubtful and in denial because Aaron Taylor is my Quicksilver. But I do believe though
You're gonna
that
die
it is
on this
Mephisto.
hill.
Do you like Evan Peters in like the Days of Future Past, Taylor?
I liked him, but I like Aaron Taylor more. he's
Okay.
he's just
He-
my go-to.
I respect that.
Hates X-Men, remember? That's his big thing. He
Oh
can't
right,
stand the X-Men.
forgot he hates X-Men.
So I'm
Refused
not
to be
sure.
a part of the retro.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where Kirkland's wavelength on, but I will jump in because maybe he's on the different side. I will agree with you now because I always said that it's going to depend all these X-Men rumors, everything like and we talked about Magneto. Now I'm off that bandwagon because I was always like, well, I just have to see how Quick Evans,
Quick Evans.
Evan Peter. I just have to see how Evan Peters is in this show, and then I can make my kind of guess, like, hey, where are we going forward? And it wasn't a like, the fact that he's just, yeah, I'm your brother. He's going with it. And the second Darcy said it's a recast. If it was like a recast in our world the same way they did War Machine or the Hulk or anything like that. They didn't acknowledge it, right? They didn't like in the real world, like fourth wall break. It's just like they had some joke about, but then they moved forward.
Well,
This is a full. Go ahead, yeah.
I was just
Kirkland
gonna say
Patzer
like
of
like
Geekverse podcast.
thank you for the introduction. My counter to that though is especially in this episode how they explained kind of how the hex works and things that enter like Wanda like changes their reality and it changes. So when she mentioned it was recast, that's kind of where my mind went. Like, yeah, it's kind of funny to think of it as like literally they're recasting that character in the MCU, not just like Wanda's show. But I was thinking like more it got switched by Wanda by something entering the hex. Now, as you guys were talking about it more, I was starting to doubt that though, just for how Pietro unfortunately lost his life in Age of Ultron. But so I was trying to think like the logistics of how this could be a Quicksilver, and I know that the show is going to be leading more into the multiverse of madness and stuff, which that will be getting weird and pulling like different things from different universes and stuff like that, for all I know at this point in time at least. But I feel like that moment hasn't happened yet, and so if this was Evan Peters from the X-Men universe and stuff like that, that Quicksilver, I feel like that doesn't jive with me at this point in time, because I don't think there's been like a shift in the multiverse yet for that to have happened, for him to have gotten there. So I am starting to lean more on your guys' side that is just, as Taylor would say, a chode herring, a red herring, like not not the real guy. Maybe it is Mephisto just in his guise. But the first time that they said that was a recast, my mind went to the reality can be whatever I want it to be sort of take on it. So
yeah, no, I went the same route as Taylor. I thought, okay, recast, and they're kind of calling out, because you're right that he could come through, but then it's just like if he comes through, then was he a random guy and came through and now he's Quicksilver? We're all in agreement that I don't think he is going to be playing Quicksilver for the foreseeable future. I'm guessing, right? Are we in that agreement? Because I don't think so. Whether he's a good guy or bad guy, I don't think so. And I think that I would lean to bad guy, because it's just like the world starts. So it's so difficult where to go. First of all, I'm just glad to see Evan Peters. So that's done.
Yeah.
We have that. That's checked off the box. That's good. Right as he was about to come, Vision and Wanda were talking about that. He's like, I don't know if you started this because of your subconscious or what happened, but you've let it get out of control. And then she kind of talked about, like, I'm not controlling the people mowing the lawn. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. So clearly, I think whatever happened, she is controlling this. She is a villain, but someone else like creaked that door open first for her to be like, look what you could do with your powers. Look what you can do. And I think that's what happened. It started as that, and then it ball rolled. And I think are talking and she's starting to realize this. That's when for some reason her brother shows up randomly to distract her from the situation. That'd be full on, whether it's Mephisto or Nightmare, but probably Mephisto the devil. That to me sounds like he's a plant there. So Taylor Field, pole rigger.
So an interesting thing about that is I didn't rig the poll, but when the doorbell rings, you hear Wanda say like, "I didn't do that."
Yeah.
So again, that's something that's out of her control, and it would make sense if it is Mephisto. He's
some.
Go ahead, Kirkland.
Yeah, something I was gonna mention that I noticed too. Their front door, like when the door was closed and something, I just noticed like a red glow around it, and my mind, ever since we started mentioning Mephisto, like that's where it just seems very symbolic, like there's something on the other side of that door. Now it is like stained glass, so maybe it is just that, but I feel like that is purposefully there and it is symbolic towards that, kind of like how we were getting like the red smoke when she was trying to make the the stork disappear originally. But sorry, yeah, I just wanted to mention I'm getting a lot of Mephisto vibes, especially in this episode. There's a couple of shots that really put my mind there.
But that's the thing of like I think that we're gonna get a few more episodes out of this. We know we got the Halloween episode and there's a Modern Family episode. They could be one and the same. We haven't figured that out. Me and Taylor are going back and forth all night. This is gonna be Halloween episode. We got close to it, but the thing is, I think that if he didn't interject himself, Wanda and Vision were going to talk it out, and they might even get to a point where they would leave this universe or leave whatever it is, because just the fact that she's, to me, starting to break in a good way, and Vision's starting to get to her, this causes a distraction, and now you can have in the next episode Evil, which, okay, and first of all, if this is the plan for him to play Mephisto, brilliant casting by them to be like, let's have him play Quicksilver, but like a joke. And we had talked about this in the predictions, right? Like, what if he is in the show and he's like a trick? We've talked about this before. Of like, I talked about some Marvel Alliance as well. Like, what if he's the devil playing a trick using the brother? And that's exactly what I think he's doing. So next week, I think he posing as a brother is going to put them at odds. He's many times going to be telling like, oh, like Vision's doing this. Like he just doesn't understand what you're trying to do. You're doing what's best for him. He's going to be literally the devil on her shoulder. And that is just like, and because it's a brother, it's trusting too.
So you think that if he didn't intervene, they would have talked it out and they would have left willingly, as opposed to what happened where she came out of Westview and turned the goons onto the director and threatened them, saying,
"That was a baller move."
Yeah, and then went back to stay in where she is, because either she is, that wasn't her, and that was Mephisto like controlling her or doing something and sent her out there and has having her as the front of his operation, or she genuinely is just doesn't want to leave. Like, there's two plausible outcomes.
Well, I think she doesn't want to leave because we'll figure this out, but I think she doesn't want to leave because there's no Vision on the outside. There's no, like, when she last episode talked about like, oh, I have everything under control, and they've talked about like, oh, what can go in, what can go out. I think Vision could go out of that bubble and even be out there for a little bit, but he would slowly deteriorate and die and become his old self again. That's what I think. I don't think he would last long out there. The kids, that's different. We don't know, because like we don't know, that was something that's created in there where Vision was given life back in there, but he was still a thing before he came in the Hex, right? He was a robot.
Do you think that was the reality that switched when he entered the Hex? He was just, gray Vision, and now he's non-gray Vision?
So but that's what I mean. Do you think the second he came in the Hex, he was instantly alive, or do you think she had to charm him alive? That's what I mean.
I don't know. I was like going back and forth because I was still like thinking that he is just this corpse Vision, floating around, that she's just completely changed, and it's not even like she's concentrating on keeping him that way. It's just she did either a charm to make him that way, and then maybe in that moment that we saw dead Vision scare the hell out of all of us. But when we saw that, like, she was at a weakened state, so maybe that charm kind of lessened, or maybe the illusion lessened, whatever it would be, because it didn't seem like he was malfunctioning at all. It just, he appeared dead, in that instant.
And maybe it's not, maybe it's a subconscious thing that maybe he actually doesn't even look like that, and she just saw him like that, right? Like, she flashed like what she saw him last. Like, she knows in the real world he would be like this, but he's nice, he's looking good. Like, it's tough because like he had that moment with Norm, the moment with Norm, and he touched his head and got this information. And we've seen that in the Halloween episode. I think that's going to be next. And we've seen that also shot where he goes up and he looks around. I think he's going to attempt to try and get out of there, and then we'll get our answer. But I think that's her main motivation I think, like, because Taylor, you asked, like, would she have left like a baller again and done that? I don't think so. I think she would have maybe come to the realization that she does have to leave, and this is unfair. And even if that is losing Vision again, it would. She said never again, but still, maybe Vision being there, telling her to do this, telling her it's not right, maybe she would have a changed heart. But now that you have possibly Mephisto in the mix, it's not going to be that easy, because Vision's not going to be able to talk to her, I think, as much. I think Mephisto might like even guard her as much as possible. He's going to be like, oh, I need a place to stay, and I need, like, he's going to get really close with the kids and all this stuff. And it's just like, I cannot wait for Evan Peters, because I think the first half of the episode next week, he's going to play like fun Quicksilver like we know and love, and then he's going to switch. Yeah, and this to me is just like one of the best like castings ever, because we're going to get him as Quicksilver, but then we're going to flip it and he's not going to be Quicksilver.
As soon as they showed him like right at the end, I don't even remember what he says, but he's like, hey kids, or something, like he's just standing, like chest out and everything. I'm just so excited to see him in this like comical role, like as a part of
he seems like Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. That's what he seems like, because the way he is dressed and his attitude, like, he definitely is gonna come off, I think, as being like a jerk. I think.
Oh, 100%. Because and that's why I think eventually Wanda will start to put that together and be like, this is not my brother. And it was so funny because I still think they were teasing us with the full recast because when they showed Wanda in the riots in Sokovia, did you notice they didn't show Quicksilver at all? They never showed a single
Aaron Taylor
picture.
Johnson.
Yeah, so
They
it's
don't
one
want
of
to
those.
pay him.
But I think they were trying to do that to be like, oh, when you do see Evan Peters, you're gonna think maybe this is just Quicksilver now. But
Yeah.
I do think Darcy calling it out that's the tip, because if she didn't call it out, I go, maybe there's a chance. Maybe
Yeah.
and technically, yes, there's still a chance. But to me, just the timing, everything like that, and I still think if he was going to be playing the X-Men Fox version, he would maybe be cognizant of it, or maybe he will eventually, because there's still that play that some people bring up that he came from a multiverse and he's the brother and his mind's just been wiped. But I don't think
that's
so
too
now.
much of a stretch because
Yeah.
and then like I was mentioning, like I feel like that multiverse moment, I feel like that hasn't happened yet. I feel like there's no reason why the multiverse would be open at this point in time.
Yeah.
I really feel like this show will end kind of leading into that. But yeah, I don't think that's happened yet. So you guys are definitely winning me over with like the theory that it is more of a Mephisto. I actually wanted to pose a question regarding Mephisto. So is he the type of character that when he finally gets revealed and stuff like this, like is he going to be kind of just a very niche villain that like only interacts with very like few individuals, or is he going to be a new big bad villain? Is he going to be just a one-off? I imagine he's not a one-off because he's a very like powerful being, right? He's like the devil of the universe.
I think it's tough because movies and villains and MCU for a while kill them off. I think he will at least get to Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, and then after that, I don't know. I think he has a history with Spider-Man. People are gonna hate it if Brent is listening. He hates it. There's a storyline called One More Day, and he like wishes to like be back to a normal life, but it like got rid of all the continuity that they built up to that point, so people hated it. They did all the stuff like he revealed his identity and stuff, and he actually got married to MJ. It took that back, so it like retconned a whole bunch of stuff. So Mephisto and Spider-Man have like a really bad legacy with the fans, but I think he is kind of like a trilogy villain as far as this. Well, maybe a quadrilogy. This show, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and we still don't know. We'll know. I can't fucking wait for Loki because this show's popping off, and I think Loki's gonna go hard. But they have said Loki is connected to this, so there's a chance Mephisto also has his fingers in Loki. So I think Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness might not kill him, but will end his story, and then maybe down the line, because I know Taylor's gonna bring up the Rider who he rigged the poll for the other day, but you have Ghost Rider, you have Midnight Suns, you have all these supernatural characters coming. I think they could defeat Mephisto and he goes away, but he's not like dead. The same way Thanos is defeated, but all it takes is someone to get that glove and snap again, and he's out of the glove. So I think that they'll do that with Mephisto. I think he'll be like a background villain of Spider-Man, and then the big bad in Doctor Strange, like the main guy they face off.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see more about him. From what I've seen on like comic book like art style and stuff, it looks really cool.
Let's see. And Fanboy Clay asked, do you guys think Agnes is going to be more of an ally after this episode? And then David Israel says it's like Agnes made the babies grow at first. Wanda's being controlled. Well, I think she's half being controlled and half not. I think she was to a point, but now she started to roll with it. But I think now she's starting to realize that it might not be a good thing. I liked the little twist of the kids growing a lot older. That was not expected. I thought we'd wait a little bit, but go ahead.
I was gonna say too, it's interesting how when Vision and Wanda were like, kind of scrapping, like I can't remember if it was Wanda that said it or if it was Vision, but she was like, I wasn't always in control, or you might not have already always known that what's going on, but then you like started to grasp it. So that must have been when the show turned color, right? I would imagine. Yeah. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting them like kind of discussing that in this episode, and it seemed just getting to Agnes. I really don't know where to put her, honestly, because she just seems so strange and like very suspicious. Like when she first came in with the twins and stuff like that. The weirdest, like the thing that really made me think hard about her was when like the dog died, and then she just looked like her emotion. It was selling me. Like she just looked so like sad and scared and like vulnerable. Again, maybe I'm just picking at it, but like for me, it just like I really don't know where to put my faith on her, because one moment I think that she's very like she's always popping in and she always has, you know, what they need. Like when they first got the dog, she had the dog bed like right away, just so convenient. And it's just like, oh, okay, suspicious that she's just always there. But then I don't know, maybe it's just good acting. I'm just like totally like feeding into what she's putting on, just like her body language and stuff. What do you guys feel about Agnes?
Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like I feel like she's being controlled, but I don't have enough information or really any sense of what to place on her character at this point. It's still so kind of convoluted. She's definitely there at the right time when she needs to be, whether that's because of the sitcom aspect or it's just because she knows she needs to be there to help things stay under control and help Wanda. But I don't know. I can't confirm. The only tidbit that seemed a little different was when she brought in the doghouse and Vision said, what did he say? Like, oh, you brought in, or like he was like,
She
oh,
always
I
has
well,
what we need.
yeah, like I had a feeling that something was gonna happen or someone was gonna pop
Yeah.
by, and then there she is with exactly what you need. So it's like a precognitive ability or function or something like that. Whether it's because it's scripted or not, and they just know or what, I don't know. But there's definitely something going on with her, but I don't have enough information to pinpoint what it is. I do predict that she is being controlled, though.
So you think Agnes is being controlled?
I think she's being controlled as a force to help control Wanda.
It could be interesting. I think what I'm most interested in next week is to see how Agnes and I'll just call him Quicksilver for now, but how Agnes and Quicksilver interact. Because I think there's a chance she might be, because we've talked about this before, if she is Agatha Harkness, she has been an ally before. And what if she's the devil on the good shoulder, like trying to help her and trying to keep her along? Because so far, she hasn't done anything mischievous yet, right? She's made a little snide remarks and that, but she could easily be trying to help Wanda out of this situation or figure it out. And the thing is, now we kind of always had this theory of like, oh, what if Evan Peters is Mephisto and what if Mephisto is Ralph, right? But if Quicksilver is there and she mentions Ralph next episode and if they're separate, unless there's some big con, but like still, like if they're separated and he's not Ralph anymore, I still think my theory, I'm sticking with my theory until I'm wrong, as far as Ralph was somebody there and she just took over that house to try and get in this situation, perhaps. And maybe she knew this was happening with Wanda. She knows she has ties to Wanda and she gets in there. And like I said, Geraldine, that's how they discover her. She has no home. Okay, how do I get in there? I got to take over this home. Ralph's my husband. I'll make up this backstory. And because all she's doing is helping Wanda. But it could be because because we still got the Dottie question. We don't know what's happening with Dottie, and
Where
she's
has she been? We haven't seen her since that one episode, right?
no, we've only seen her a few times. We saw her in that meme that Taylor really popped off with. You know, he got that one. She was in one episode, but other than that, let me go to the YouTube chat. Theory: Wanda can't get his brother's body back to bring him back, so she recasts him. This helps include Herb's missing word with "dead," making Wanda bring back the entire town. So, wow, that'd be well. See, the only thing though with Valzian thing for the theory, I think he was saying that like if she's bringing back people that are dead into the world to fill this world. But the thing is, when they did that whole missing board last week, they didn't say those people were dead. I don't think, right? Like
Yeah,
they
they
did
didn't.
not say that. But like I think they would have made a point like all these people are dead, but they started like, oh, this is Herb, this is the older couple, stuff like that. So I think that, and the same way like. With that theory, you said she brought them in. I agree with Taylor when he pointed out that Wanda, right when that doorbell rang, she said, I didn't do that. And that's the thing. She didn't do that. It's the same reason why I still go back to the stork. She couldn't control that stork. There's something she can't control, and I think that shows there is at least a greater evil. I think she got influenced by the evil, and she accepted it. I don't think it's a full mind control thing. I think she was tempted, and she took it. She was like Boromir. You know, she decided to try and take that ring. She's going to regret it, but she wanted to take the ring because she felt it, and she couldn't resist it. And I think just as she's starting to resist it, which I have to give big shout to both. Well, first of all, also Catherine Hahn, who is great in this episode, doing all of like the Agnes stuff and everything. But Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, specifically that last scene when they get in the argument. One, when Elizabeth Olsen is just trying to play it off like nothing's happening. But when Paul Bettany is becoming Vision and he's like, I don't even know who I was before this life. Like, who, like he's emotionally getting upset and seeing Vision in a state we've never seen before. And just like the way his line delivery of like, oh, I tapped into Norm's like inner self-conscious that you couldn't, control or anything like that. Just his delivery and how cold it was. It felt like a big like marriage story, like breakup movie happening. And that like those two together in that scene were phenomenal. They knocked it out of the park really, really well.
So, how do you feel about her not being able to control the kids with her magic? Because again, it's something else that she wasn't able to accomplish.
Well, that's a sad thing because those kids, something really bad's gonna happen to them. She couldn't control she couldn't get them to sleep. They were aging when she didn't want them to, and she talked them down. But that has happened in the comics where Mephisto has had a part in those kids, and he's also taken those kids away. And I almost wonder if there could be a situation like, let's say she does figure this all out, and he says, "You got to keep this bubble up, or I'm gonna take these kids." And she finally goes like, "No, like we're hurting all these people." And she tries to save the kids, but Mephisto takes those kids. And whether Doctor Strange is her going to get revenge on Mephisto or to get the kids back, I think this is going to end with Mephisto. He has more control of those kids than she does, which is a very scary thing.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. I feel like the things that Wanda can't control in there is, if it's not like, I feel like it is Mephisto. If it's not Mephisto, then it's some other third party. I feel like it's not like it's just she made it and now she can't control it. Like, I feel like it's very much, like you just mentioned, like Mephisto's got his grasp on those things. And for just theory crafting on what's going to happen with the kids, whether it's in Doctor Strange or whatnot, I feel like they're just going to be gone. I feel like this show, they're just, I'm really leaning into the theory that like once they are gone, that'll really be the snapping point on Wanda. I'm still trying to I'm trying to think of like what is the most important thing to her, whether it's Vision or the kids. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know where I feel on that, because like obviously the kid interactions were so minimal. It was literally only this episode, because before this they were just babies. So I haven't really seen too much like connection with them. We'll probably see that in the upcoming episodes, but for her and Vision, like I had seen that connection strengthen and become so strong from like movies, right? And then now we're in this show and stuff like that. So I feel like I got more connection there. But again, maybe it'll be the loss of Vision, maybe it'll be the loss of the kids, and like all of that. That'll really break Wanda. And I feel like where we're gonna be at in Doctor Strange is gonna be a very broken Wanda, both like psychologically and possibly physically. We'll see how this ends.
Well, I think when you're talking about like what's more important, like her versus, or like him versus the kids, that's why I think it's just like we won't have to answer that question, because I think she's gonna lose it all, and I think it could be in the I think it's gonna be in the same episode or near the end of the episode. And because I agree with you as far as the breaking, and I still agree with you as far as like I think that the kids, I don't think the kids are real, just because one, I guess they could age them up to be like young adults, and maybe that's how they get them in the MCU. So okay, you could do that, but at the same point, it's just like I just feel it's still kind of weird too if you have like Elizabeth Olsen and then you have like these 20-year-old kids. I feel like okay, like there could be a disconnect as far as us caring about these characters, but I also just feel that if you're gonna break the universe, if she's gonna have this House of M moment, if she's gonna like create the multiverse of madness, if her kids are still alive and she has to go save them, I don't think that's the moment. It would be her motivated to try and go get those kids. If it's, you got to get those kids, okay, I'm going to go get them. If it's those kids are lost and they don't exist, that's to me like, there's no, I have to go get them. That's just a breaking point. And there's a chance that maybe even in this show she kills Mephisto and she is the villain on Doctor Strange because she just can't control. So like Mephisto might not. He might actually not make it to Doctor Strange. He could be a one and done here, but I think he has his like hooks and other things. So I think she will lose those kids. They will not be real, and that'll be the big popping off point. And then I don't know what happens with the fall as far as Mephisto, those people outside of Westview, with Agnes, stuff like that. Because we still have the next week, if it is the Halloween episode, we have that moment in the trailers where Vision touches Agnes and she like snaps out of it, right? So and you would think she would reveal some stuff, but. Right. I don't know. I'm just very excited to see, like I said, how Evan Peters factors into all this now that we know what he's doing, and oh boy, and just it's just exciting.
No, 100%. There was one comment that they made on how Wanda has like thousands of people captured. I understand it's a show; you can't show 1,000 people, but I ain't buying it. Come on, we've seen like 6 people so far, minus the people in the computer office where Vision works. But it just made me laugh when they said it's like there's 1,000 people in there. It's like, really? I counted like 7. Okay, whatever.
They should have said hundreds. Like
Yeah.
that would have been a bit more.
I would have bought it easier. Yeah.
It's kind of like in Mandalorian when they're always walking the same fucking corner in season 1 on that planet or whatnot. It's like, really, this is a big planet? Why are we on the same block all the time talking to Brief Karga? You know, my favorite customer. But where do we want to go next? What have we not touched upon here? Oh, you know where we want to go next? Because Kirk and Patzer, that's a great reminder. We want to go to an ad break because that helps support the show. We're back. Taylor, take us to our next topic. I gotta get my charging cord. So where do you want to go?
Next topic I want to go to is the commercial. What was it for? Slab?
Lagos.
Or Flagos. Yeah, or Lagos. Yeah.
Lagos.
Not Slab.
I was like, did I miss one? I definitely missed that Russian one. Slav.
Slab. I have no idea what Lagos is.
Yeah, me neither.
Relevance to, so I need our resident comic book guy Travis to enlighten
Of course,
us.
he's just gone.
He's just
yeah,
gone.
the two
yeah.
guys that don't know anything.
Yeah, but I do like how the commercial, and this is actually the first time I noticed where the commercial had a character in the commercial represented in Westview, because it showed the husband that spilled the drink and wiped up. It showed him as the mailman, and he acted kind of weird towards Wanda.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting.
It was a weird interaction.
It's very weird. But yeah, I have no idea what Lagos is relevant to, so maybe I'll just Google it.
Yeah. No, that was a commercial I was looking for, and first one I wasn't able to discern. What is it?
It's the largest city in Nigeria, and I believe it is where it's where what is his name? Crossbones, I think, was going to steal the bioweapon. So it's where Wanda exploded the bomb by accident.
Oh, right.
Lagos, yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. We'll see if Travis knew. We'll test him.
Yeah, we'll test him.
Now that we know the information.
We know it, yeah, we'll test him.
Yeah. Get those little earbuds in.
All right, Travis, we're going to quiz you. Do you know what Lagos was referenced to?
No, I did not, and I'm glad if you searched it up because I didn't before cast. No, you might say it now, I know, but I was trying to figure out. I was like, what the fuck is it? Tell me, please.
Lagos is the city that Wanda accidentally had her accident and blew up when Skull Crusher Crossbones Bone Man was trying to steal the disease. That's the one.
Taylor and I both knew that,
Very
by the
nice.
way.
Yeah, we both did, yeah.
You didn't have to look it up at all while you're gone.
Oh, really? Yeah. I should have got it because they even refer to it in this episode, too. They talked about that. And so that's good, and that's good about talking about some spills you can't clean up and all this stuff, because it was about her kind of contain that bomb and then it blew up and stuff like that. So it's nice, these little history lessons, as far as I do wonder if it's always going to be that, because I wonder once the show's done, are those done too, like the comedy show? Because are they always just going to be little hints of her past, or are we eventually going to get a commercial that's really, this has something to do with the future or something to do with the present? Because they've all just been which I don't mind. I think that's still really cool, but they've all been, about her parents' death, about Strucker there, and now this. They've all been about the history lesson. So I wonder if we will catch up and have anything that kind of in twos with the show. I wonder if next week we'll get something with brotherly related or sibling related, because I think that has to be a big thing next week. I can't wait at some point if he is revealed as Mephisto. There's going to be a moment where he has this Quicksilver garb, but he's going to start maybe changing or morphing into the fucking devil, and that could be really fun. Yeah. And if I don't know if you guys have watched MPs or anything else other than X-Men, but he can do a villain role. Watch American Horror Story. I didn't catch him in that one, but he's in American Horror Story, and man, he'll be able to pull it off. So he's gonna be an evil motherfucker if they let him. But there you go, good catch there, Taylor.
And me.
And Kirkland.
And Kirkland, yeah. Another catch I want to talk about is their dog, Sparky. One of the comics this is based off, called The Vision. he creates a dog, like a robot synthetic dog, also named Sparky. So just a fun
Well, the
little.
name before Sparky was again the bunny rabbit name, wasn't it?
Like Sniffy or something.
Yeah, yeah. Cause then Agnes was like making the joke like, "Oh, should call him Sparky because he pulled the plug out." But
Fucking
the
electrocuted
kids said
himself.
the same name as the bunny rabbit, whatever that was.
Well, and I thought it was funny because I thought he was gonna bite the wall socket and then die, and Wanda would just bring him back because we get that great conversation of Wanda and Vision being like,
Yeah.
Vision's like, why are you using your powers? Like I thought we agreed. She's like, oh, she didn't know. It's like that's not the point. We did get the one where the dog actually died, and she talked to the kids about how the importance of death and sticking, like you can't reverse it, not everything can change. So that's where it's like, is she just being hypocritical, doing the do as I say, not as I do, or is that kind of aligning or alluding to there is still that part of her that will eventually be like, okay, this isn't right. I can't do this, because she is cognizant of knowing death is still should be final and you can't change that. But obviously that's not what she's doing right now in the world, but that's what she's telling her kids that she's wanting to put forward to them. So I don't know.
No, totally. I don't.
I'm trying to think. What did I think of? Oh, that's right. So Monica, I have a few things with Monica. When they scanned and took her vitals and whatnot, and they're like, "Oh, it's blank. Like, why didn't
Yeah, that was
anything
weird.
show up?" So you know how they talked about how the pants came out and they're all like almost Kevlar now and everything. Many people speculated, so I'm not alone. But I think this is the confirming. She becomes a superhero. She becomes Photon and Spectrum, stuff like that. All a bunch of names we joked about last week. I think this is her. She got her powers from being in there. As far as superhero powers, with Wanda interacting with her and pushing her through that portal, I think that's what that setup was for being like, oh, like whatever the problem was with her vitals, that's showing like, she got some superhero stuff going on. And before you guys talk about, I want to get your opinions on. So they keep this. I can't remember how they're listing off which I didn't understand this. They're listing off one, and they're like, oh, she's never showed this power before. And then Monica's like, yeah, well, she almost took out Thanos before these things rained down on her. It's like that seemed a bit too specific, like to know that. Like that seemed like someone just seen the movie, but that's fine, whatever. Maybe a mission report, whatever. But then Jimmy Woo says something about like, oh, she's as powerful as Captain Marvel or something like that. And then she doesn't say anything. She just moves forward, and Darcy does like a head cock. So
well, no,
why?
she's like, I'm not talking about her.
Yeah,
Like, it
she
seemed
was.
very,
Yes,
right.
she's got some pre-existing issues with Captain Marvel.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask Taylor. What do you think? Because the last time we saw them, you would think they would be friendly because she was best friends with her mom, and Captain Marvel, she was like a big auntie to her, everything like that. So like, why do you think now there's some like bad will there?
Oh, go ahead, Kirkland.
He gave it to you. I'll respect Travis's podcast.
With guests.
I think that there is some reason pre-existing that we just don't know that they'll unveil.
Well-
Maybe in a Captain Marvel 2, perhaps. But I do think that maybe it's just like, hey, Captain Marvel, you never came back to visit my mom and she died. Or you didn't come and call out, like, help her out when she was in the hospital or something like that. Or I don't know, maybe she was in a fighter jet and she was being attacked by Skrulls and she needed help and Captain Marvel didn't save her. Like, there could be a million different reasons why there's some kind of feud, but her reaction to that statement and the mention of Captain Marvel definitely goes to show that there is some dis-ease.
Dis-ease.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought you said disease. I'm like, what
That
is
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the
What about
blippers,
you?
they got disease.
What about you, Kirkland? Are you on the same wavelength as him, sort of?
Yeah, I feel like maybe she does resent Captain Marvel for, like, she's literally like a Superman type character. Like, she should be able to save everyone, and maybe she kind of resents her for not being able to save her mom, or just maybe to just fucking off and never coming back, doing something like that. But I'm so intrigued with this character now, knowing that she does, become a superhero. Because I feel like, and I really like her character from what I've seen in the show, and I'm sure I'm not alone. So I can see her becoming a very popular character, and I am interested in they kind of, like, if they do want to do more with that character, if they kind of flesh out her backstory more, maybe give us some more information, or even if we get more information, in upcoming maybe Captain Marvel film or something like that. But Yeah, I thought that was a very interesting like dynamic that they had there, where because I was waiting for them to mention Captain
Mm-hmm.
Marvel and then her to get like pumped, like, oh, I still got her jacket, and like stuff like that. Because didn't Brie Larson give her, or not Brie Larson, didn't Captain Marvel give her jacket at the end of the
I
movie?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're one and
so
the same.
yeah, so I thought that was a very like important reaction that she had
Yes.
there. Yeah.
No, you guys said the exact same idea. I just like that. I was expecting something this Kirk and like, oh, they're gonna say that. And I'll be like, oh, like just acknowledgement, something friendly. And the fact that it was like almost cold was like, okay, we got some intrigue. And that's what I like because they have confirmed she's in Captain Marvel 2, Monica. And they've also said that there's rumors that her and Captain Marvel might be in Secret Invasion, like make appearances. That Nick Fury, Talos show about the Skrulls and everything like that. So I think that's what I like, that it could have just been like, oh yeah, I know her. But the fact that they're already setting up for other stuff down the line, that's exciting. Like that has something completely, and all it was just a couple lines. That's it. But it plants the idea in your mind, like, okay, there's already story there now. What happened? When is that going to get resolved? Does Captain Marvel feel the same way? Like, did she come back to Earth and maybe Monica just like reamed her out and now they both don't talk? Or is it really just one-sided with just Monica and Captain Marvel has no idea? So when she gets back to Earth, it's like, hey, who knows? Maybe she found out when the cancer came back that Captain Marvel wasn't there for her. Like because remember, Maria was still there, had cancer. Monica was snapped, so maybe she felt she didn't take good enough care of her while she was snapped. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, and I think that's good because they add some more layers and depth to this character, which is already having that. And now between that and it's looking like this is how she has powers now, pretty much. So I don't know if she's going to display him in this show, but she's definitely going to display him soon. And yeah, I think they're doing a good job with Monica.
Absolutely.
Anything else to shout out? I really love the opening credits with the photos and everything. I love Kid Vision photos.
I laughed so hard at the Kid Vision ones. Yeah, that was a good touch.
And him and the turkey and everything like that.
And that's like the same intro that Full House had, right? Like
pretty kind of,
like the intro music and everything, and like when they would cut to different scenes, like just the way the camera would kind of move into the scene with like some warming music, like it just so totally felt like Full House. It was funny. I mentioned to Shay that it was like the Olsen twins' sister. That's who. What's her name now? Elizabeth Olsen. And then it was hitting me. I'm like, oh my gosh, weren't the twins in Full House? That's hilarious. Like doing a full circle like that. So it kind of hit me later than I should have known, I guess.
Taylor, you got anything else to shout out? Any points?
I do find it interesting how the assistant director basically armed that drone to take a strike against Wanda, because he's got his own agenda, which I find very intriguing. I do like how they figured out a way to get into Westview by using tech from that age, and how when Monica went through the first time, basically her Kevlar reshaped into her actual clothing that she came out with, her like 70s clothing, which I thought was super, super cool. So again, it gives more light and explanation to the drone and everything like that and how to counter it. So again, we've seen this in the trailer, obviously them ramming like a tank of sorts against the Hex. So obviously her mention in this of them building like with all these materials, building a tank to go in there with, and the only thing it not protecting you with against is the mind wipe, possibly. We don't know, but I just think that's interesting. That's a foreshadow. Look forward to them still trying to go back in there, even after she threatened them, or Wanda threatened them.
Well, two things. One, when the drone had that image of Wanda and her eyes just turned red, that was some good scary shit right there. She's just going full on like what was that burn notice? Not burn notice. What was burn?
Bright burn.
Bright burn, yeah, like that's what it felt like. Oh man, and just
Burn
like the kids
notice.
are right beside her, and then I like that she came out and she had. We haven't really fully talked about this, but she had like her original garb back. She had her accent back too, and everything like that.
Accent. I'm so iffy on that accent. Oh my gosh.
I am too. Yeah. And then she threw out the drone and was just like, "Yeah, this is yours." And she talked to obviously Monica a bit there, but she really she just mind wiped them and turned the guns all on that director there. And I was like, oh man, that was the most villainous she's ever felt though. Like even more than Monica last week. That felt like a whole like, I have something you're never taking away. That felt like a full on just comic book villain in the best way. And then two, it's something that I just want to show up because I might forget about it. But another unsettling moment, because I like that We said at the show, if they did the full comedy route, they might have to go a bit harder on the reveals or like scariness because we just had a bunch of it and you don't want to go back down. From right off the bat of Agnes just being like, "Oh, you want me to take that from the top? You want me to do it again?"
Yeah.
She's like, "What?" And Vision being like, "What's happening here?" Like, to her, like, "Oh, you want me to take the babies?" Right? It felt like she was like being like, we know this, but it felt like she was being held hostage. And then when Vision brings her aside, like, you didn't see that, and she's trying to talk it down. That was great stuff. So between those Wanda eyes and that little moment in the beginning, again, just kind of these like the horror, creepy vibes and everything that they do such a good job with.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. That's something throughout this series that they've just done so well, sprinkling those super just eerie moments that are so quick that like you could miss them, honestly. Like if you're on your phone or something, I don't know why you'd be doing that on an awesome show like this, but whatever. But
Porn.
they really or porn. Like they really just sit with you though, especially like if you're watching the comedy type part of the show, and then it's got a laugh track, it's got some like light music maybe in the background, but then it all just turns off, and then it all just like shifts for that brief moment, and that stuff just like that's like so eerie to me. Some people get scared by jump scared stuff. Like that is the stuff that sticks with me, you know.
Well, that's how I knew we were in for a good episode, because it happened so early, like 5 minutes in, and it felt so weird for that to happen. And the other touch I like too is when they had their fight at the end, and it was just starting, and he's like, "You don't control me," and she's like,
The
"Don't
credits
I?"
are rolling.
Yeah, and the credits roll, and she's like, "Good night, I'll see you in bed." He's like, "No," and like she started at comedy route, but he's going like, "No, you can't end this
Well,
right
the
now."
laugh
Like,
track came in.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I'm going to bed, and then the laugh track. He's like, no, you can't just do that. And then it just
Yeah.
kept going.
and just like a little dagger when he's like, "You just want to go to bed, so what? You can change everything again." And that was the same when he said the word again. I was like, so he's getting cognizant of all, like he's starting to remember. And we kind of theorized this last week by the look of his face, but now he's starting to put together like, you've done this many, like he's starting to know everything now. And that thing where we talk about now with him being a living being or not, it's like no matter what he is, if he's a dead Vision being puppet, he's starting to get free will, and he has that now. So I don't know what happens when he leaves, but at least in there he has free will, and maybe that's gonna be the thing too, that she will not be able to control him at all fully, and maybe he's going to choose not to be with her, or he's going to choose to like self-sacrifice and kill himself or something. Like there could be something that breaks her because she can't have it her way, because this Vision doesn't want to live like that even.
Well, there was a lot of interesting reveals in this episode, but something that was really interesting to me was us actually seeing Wanda like break Vision out and like steal his body, and then also what's his name, Jimmy Woo. He was mentioning that like she basically broke the Sokovian Accord by like bringing him back, and that's not even just breaking that. The Vision said he doesn't want to be brought back, So once I'm sure that moment's gonna happen where he'll kind of get some of his memory back. Maybe he is gonna be pissed, and he's gonna be pissed at Wanda for manipulating him and doing all that stuff. So. Well, I don't think it's gonna be a happy ending for Wanda, unfortunately.
Well, I was going to say, let's see, Thompson202 says, "Bro, I don't know if I'm tripping, but if you look at in minute 33 and 23 seconds, there's a red hand you see behind Wanda in the mirror. If that is true, Taylor, you check it, screenshot that or take a photo.
What's the time code?
33 minutes and 23 seconds. That's crazy. Maybe you might be tripping, Thompson. We'll check it out, but the same way last week we talked about it was 2 weeks ago when she brought up I was a twin. We knew, okay, one way or another we're getting a Quicksilver, right? So I think with Vision saying, I want to know who I am, I don't remember anything, that's us getting the breadcrumbs of he's going to want to know, or he's going to find out that the Snap, the Blip, Thanos, Tony Stark, he's going to find all this stuff, whether it's another character or something being injected him to give that. I think that's laying the breadcrumbs that he will find this all out. And like you said, he's going to either turn her. I think my theory is I think he might not turn. He's just going to just turn himself off. Like he's just going to literally, like I said, his version of kill himself. I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to choose like, I can't be a part of this. I don't want you to do this. I think that's what's going to happen. So Taylor, what was
the second? The
23 seconds.
23 seconds. 33:20.
33:23. I've said how many times I gotta say?
It's
23?
almost 2 a.m. I'm so tired. I had to take some pills.
23. What does that mean?
My
I
teeth
gotta
are
take some-
killing me right now.
Oh, now it's finally happening. Finally, a week
red
later, and his teeth
hand.
kill him. But yeah, he will find out. But like you said, that was a good show. That it was interesting to get to see the scene of, even if it was like security footage of her coming in, taking it all apart, and Vision was on the table completely stripped. His head was off his body, his arms were separated, everything like that. So
Mhm.
Did he say a red hand on her shoulder?
he said, "A red hand you see behind Wanda, the mirror in the
mirror.
back." So in the mirror.
I didn't see anything in the mirror.
So Thompson, I am not looking personally, but we have two people on the case.
Oh, hang
And-
on.
Uh-oh.
There's something red, but I think it's just Viz.
it's just Vision's head just popped out there. That's the problem. He is red, but we've talked about that before. That the theme of the show is red. Like every color that came in was red. That drone was red. Like so. Taylor's doing a classic Born Identity.
I'm
zoom and
gonna
enhance.
take a picture for you guys to see because that's interesting. I mean, even when he's standing in the doorway, he's got a red glow around him. You can see the
That's
reflection.
something I didn't notice before.
You're sending that in the GV3 chat. Is that where you're gonna send it?
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else before we get out of here? We talked about Agnes. We talked about. We didn't see much of the neighbors and everything like that.
So
but anything else
that's-
to shout here?
That's if you look at the image, you can see
that's what I saw.
there's that like it is darker colored, but I don't know if it's necessarily a red hand. But that's him. Actually, it's funny because he's walking forward, moving into the house. The reflection of him isn't moving; it's static in the mirror.
So
Yeah.
just a red little blob there is what we're
Well,
examining.
No, like it kind of looks like a leather jacket arm, which would be his arm, and then like just the way that the camera is, I think it has that red look. But also, like Taylor mentioned, like he definitely does have a reddish hue. But I
Yeah.
also don't know if that's just the camera effect because we're supposed to be in the Full House era, you know?
Clay
It kinda
says
has that
it's the
fuzzy.
door, and I kind of agree with that. It looks like the door.
No, you can see the sleeve. Like if you watch the
Yeah.
scene over, you can see it's his body, like it's his arm and all that.
And when you're saying his, but I were talking about Visions or Quicksilver?
No, it's
New
Quicksilver because you can see Wanda's back is to the mirror, so directly in front
Mhm.
of her is Quicksilver's body in the reflection.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at this in real time and also in HD, not this photo, but
It's pretty
it
much
could
the
be
same.
something. Yeah, yeah. But hey, I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised because I think he is Mephisto. I think he is, or he's an agent of Mephisto. Whatever it is, he's a bad dude. And I will say, perfect placement of my last point of the night is when they opened the door and they had the crowd cheer when they saw his face, just like the way the
Yeah.
crowd would. So it was such a like a fourth wall moment, like I'm cheering and the crowd's cheering, and
Yeah.
it's just like almost to tell Wanda too, like you should be happy. But it's also was just like such a meta, like people have been talking about this moment and the fact that it's here, like the crowd cheers. Just the show's so fucking well done. It's so good, and I can't believe we still have 4 episodes. I thought we'd be getting this shit like 3 episodes left, or like the last finale, like the penultimate episode, and we're already here. And we got 4 left. It's about to get bonkers. I can't wait.
It's crazy. Yeah. I'm loving it. It's definitely surpassing my expectations, which I already were pretty high. So it's awesome.
Are there any final words before we get out of here?
I am just ecstatic. I think that this is like a really, really good track, and I am super, super excited. Again, we're getting closer and closer to getting to some multiverse stuff, and that's what I want. I really want to get down that road. I want to get Mephisto
ride.
in here. I want to ride. Yeah, one last ride.
Ride down
I
that
want.
road.
I want.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
want.
know.
I want Mephisto in here sooner than later. So, I think that we have what you said 4 episodes left.
4 episodes left.
Yeah, so it's gonna get good. And again, this was our longest episode yet so far at 41 minutes, including credits. So I'm stoked. And Halloween's next episode, and Halloween has a whole lot to do with the devil, so it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I
I'm
think next week is gonna pop off.
I'm excited to see Wanda in that classic Scarlet Witch. It's funny too how they were mentioning like, does she have any nicknames or something? Like, what do they call her?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's Scarlet Witch, you idiots! Come on.
She doesn't now, but hasn't before, but she will now probably if she becomes a bit more villainous. Maybe that's it. It's not her hero name. It's her villain
villain name.
antagonist name. So Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Had lots of people in there popping off, giving
Yeah.
us some ideas and some potential red glows and whatnot. But yeah, join us. We'll be back next week, and it'll not be boring because we got fucking Quicksilver and shit like that. So thank you very much.
Peace.
Bye bye.